Welcome to today's English listening practice. In this lesson, we'll take a slow and relaxing walk together through the park. You'll hear natural English conversation and longer sentences, like real storytelling. Just sit back, listen carefully, and imagine yourself in the park, hearing the birds, watching people, and enjoying the fresh air. This will help you improve your English listening and speaking step by step in a calm and enjoyable way. Let's begin our day in the park.
Today, I want to share something very simple but very special with you. This morning, I decided to go to the park near my home. The weather was soft and cool, and the sun was just starting to rise higher in the sky. As I walked slowly towards the park, I could hear the sound of birds singing on the trees around me. Their songs were not too loud, but gentle, like a welcome message for the new day. When I entered the park, I immediately felt calm. The fresh air touched my face, and I took a deep breath, feeling my chest open with peace. The path inside the park was long and clean, and the green grass on both sides looked soft, almost like a carpet. I saw tall trees standing proudly, their branches moving a little with the morning wind. It made me think about how nature gives us peace when we take the time to notice it.
I know that feeling very well. The park has a special magic, doesn't it? When I go there, I also like to walk slowly and notice every small thing around me. Sometimes, I focus on the way the light falls on the leaves, making them shine like they are covered in gold. Other times, I listen to the sound of people's footsteps on the path, each step different, each person with their own journey. I remember one morning when I saw a little boy running after a butterfly. He was laughing so loudly, and his parents were smiling at him from a bench nearby. That scene stayed in my mind because it showed how happiness can come from the simplest things, like chasing a butterfly in the park. The park is not just a place with trees and benches. It is a place where stories happen, where people find moments of joy, peace, and connection.
Yes, exactly. When I walked deeper into the park today, I saw many different people, and each one seemed to have their own story. Some were jogging, moving quickly with focused faces, maybe thinking about health or fitness. Others were sitting quietly, reading a book or looking at their phones. I even noticed an older man sitting on a bench, feeding small pieces of bread to the pigeons that gathered around him. His face was soft, and he looked like he was enjoying the simple company of the birds. As I passed by, I smiled at him, and he smiled back. That small exchange made me feel connected, even though we didn't say a single word. That's something I really like about the park. It brings strangers together in quiet ways. Sometimes we forget how powerful a small smile or a gentle gesture can be.
That is so true. I remember last weekend when I went to the park with my friend. We walked together, slowly talking about our lives. We noticed children playing in the playground, climbing up and sliding down with so much energy. Their laughter filled the air like music. In another corner of the park, we saw two old friends sitting close together on a bench, talking quietly. Their heads leaned towards each other, and their hands moved as they shared their thoughts. I imagine they were remembering the past or talking about family. It reminded me that the park is like a mirror of life. You can see every stage here. Children beginning their journey, adults carrying their responsibilities, and older people reflecting on memories. All of these stories live together in one space, and that makes the park feel alive.
As I continued walking this morning, I noticed the sound of water. There is a small fountain in the middle of the park, and the water falls gently, making a calming sound. I stopped for a few minutes and just listened. Around the fountain, there were flowers of many colors: red, yellow, pink, and white. Bees were moving from flower to flower, working hard, but in a quiet, steady way. It made me realize that even the smallest creatures in the park have their own role to play. While I was standing there, a little girl came running to the fountain, holding her mother's hand. She pointed at the water and laughed with excitement. Her mother smiled and told her something softly, maybe explaining about the fountain. That moment made me happy, because it showed how the park is also a place of learning for children. They discover new things there, not only about nature, but also about life itself.
I can imagine that clearly. The fountain always gives a special feeling, doesn't it? Water has a way of calming our hearts. I also like the benches around the fountain, where people can sit and rest. Sometimes I sit there with a notebook, just writing down thoughts. I write about what I see: an old couple walking hand in hand, a group of teenagers laughing loudly, a person walking their dog. Each scene becomes like a picture in my mind. One time, I even started writing a short story while sitting in the park. It was about a man who visits the park every morning to feed the birds, and one day he meets someone who changes his life. I never finished the story, but I realized that inspiration often comes when we are surrounded by the simple beauty of nature. The park teaches us to slow down and notice the world instead of always running fast.
That's beautiful. I also think the park helps us slow down. Today, as I walked further, I saw a group of people doing yoga together on the grass. They were moving slowly, breathing deeply, and their faces looked peaceful. It reminded me that the park is not only for walking or sitting, but also for taking care of our bodies and minds. Some people run fast, some people move slowly, but everyone finds their own way to use the space. I even saw a man painting under a tree. He had a small canvas, and he was carefully looking at the flowers before putting colors on the paper. His hand moved gently, and it seemed like he was completely lost in his art. That made me think. The park is like a stage, and everyone brings their own activity, their own story, to this open and welcoming place.
Yes, and that's what makes it so alive. I also think the park is a place of meeting. You may come alone, but often you end up sharing a smile, a word, or even a conversation with someone new. For example, last month, I was sitting on a bench when a woman with a dog sat near me. The dog came closer, wagging its tail, and I smiled. The woman started talking to me about her dog, and soon we were sharing stories about pets and life. That small meeting turned into a friendship, and now sometimes we meet in the park again. It makes me realize that the park is not only about nature, but also about people. It gives us a space to connect in a world that is often too busy and too fast.
As we walk further along the path, I notice how the trees form a kind of green tunnel above us. The branches stretch across from both sides, almost like they are holding hands in the air. The sunlight slips through the gaps in the leaves, creating patterns of light and shadow on the ground. It feels peaceful, like we are walking inside a quiet painting. A few children run past us, chasing each other and laughing, their shoes tapping quickly against the pavement. I can hear the sound of their laughter echoing through the park, and it makes me smile because it reminds me of my own childhood. Do you remember how much fun it was to run without thinking, just feeling free in the fresh air? Walking here today, I feel that same freedom returning. Even though I'm not running, I'm just enjoying the calm rhythm of each step.
Yes, I feel the same way. There is something about a park that takes you back to simpler times. As I look around, I see an elderly couple sitting together on a wooden bench. They are not saying much, but the way they sit close tells me everything. Sometimes love does not need many words. The woman gently points to the flowers nearby, and the man nods with a smile, as if he has seen those flowers 100 times but still admires them because she does. I find it so beautiful how a park brings people together in different ways. Children playing, couples relaxing, friends walking, and strangers crossing paths. Even though we are all different, the park feels like a shared home for a short moment. When I breathe in, I smell the fresh grass that was probably cut this morning, and I can almost taste the freshness of the air. It makes me realize how important it is to slow down and notice small things around us.
That is so true. Look over there, near the big oak tree. There is a man painting on a canvas. His small easel is set up on the grass, and he is carefully adding colors to his picture. I find it inspiring to see people creating art in the park. The way he moves his brush slowly shows how much attention he gives to every detail. I wonder if he is painting what he sees, or maybe he is painting what he feels. Sometimes an artist mixes reality with imagination, and the result is even more beautiful than the real scene. Watching him reminds me that we can all bring creativity into our lives. Maybe not everyone paints, but we can tell stories, write thoughts, or simply notice beauty and share it with others. Being here today, I feel like I want to capture this walk in words, just like he captures it in colors.
And you are right. This conversation itself is a kind of painting with words. As we talk, we create pictures in each other's minds. Look at the small pond up ahead. The water is so still, it almost looks like glass. When the wind blows gently, the surface ripples and shines under the sunlight. Ducks are swimming slowly, moving in groups as if they are part of a small family. A child throws breadcrumbs into the water, and the ducks quickly gather, flapping their wings and quacking softly. The scene makes me think of community and kindness. Even something as simple as feeding ducks becomes a little moment of connection between humans and nature. I believe that is what makes the park special. It is not only a place to walk, but also a place where many small stories happen at the same time, each one filled with meaning.
Yes, every corner of the park tells a story. As we stand by the pond, I notice a group of young people practicing music. One has a guitar, Another plays a small drum, and a third sings in a gentle voice. Their song floats through the air, mixing with the natural sounds around us. The birds, the breeze, the rustle of leaves. It almost feels like the park itself is joining the song, like nature and humans are in harmony for a little while. Some people stop to listen, nodding their heads slowly with the rhythm, while others just pass by with a smile. I think that's the beauty of music in open spaces. It doesn't demand anything, but it gives a gift to anyone who wants to listen. Standing here, I feel both calm and alive at the same time.
I completely agree. Parks are not only places of relaxation, but also spaces of creativity where music, painting, laughter, and conversations all meet. I notice even the dogs running across the grass add their own joy to the atmosphere. Look, there's a golden retriever chasing a ball, running with such energy, while its owner claps and cheers. The dog's happiness spreads to everyone watching. Another person is walking a smaller dog, a little one that takes quick, tiny steps, trying to keep up. Seeing them reminds me of how much animals also enjoy the park. It is not just a place for humans, but a place where all living beings can share joy together. That makes me appreciate parks even more as they become little islands of life and connection inside busy cities.
As we walk past the pond and continue along the path, the smell of food begins to drift through the air. It's a warm and inviting smell, the kind that makes your stomach remind you it's ready for something tasty. Just a little further ahead, I see a small ice cream cart painted in bright colors. The vendor is smiling, wearing a hat to protect himself from the sun, and he is busy handing cones to children who are standing in line with their parents. I watch one child receive a large scoop of chocolate ice cream, and the look on his face is priceless. It's like pure happiness in a single moment. His mother wipes a little drip from his chin while laughing, and the boy just keeps licking as if he doesn't want a single drop to go to waste. Watching this, I feel tempted myself, and I think to myself, maybe we should also stop and enjoy a scoop. After all, what better way to celebrate a sunny day in the park than with something sweet and cold?
That is a wonderful idea. I can already imagine how refreshing it will feel. We step closer to the cart, and as we wait in line, I notice how everyone has their own favorite flavor. A young girl points excitedly at the strawberry tub, her eyes shining as if strawberries are the greatest treasure in the world. A teenager ahead of us chooses mint chocolate chip, smiling as if he just picked the perfect summer taste. When it's finally our turn, the vendor greets us with a cheerful voice, asking what flavor we would like. I look at the choices: vanilla, chocolate, mango, pistachio, and even a rainbow-colored one that seems made for pure fun. I decide on vanilla because sometimes the simplest things bring the most comfort. He hands me the cone, and as I take the first lick, the smooth coldness melts on my tongue, spreading a gentle sweetness that feels like a small celebration. It is amazing how something so simple can bring so much joy.
I'm glad you chose vanilla. For me, I think chocolate will always be my favorite. I take my cone, and the rich flavor reminds me of summer vacations when I was a child. Every bite feels like stepping back into those carefree afternoons, when the only worry was whether the ice cream would melt too fast. We walk slowly toward a shaded area, finding a bench under a tall maple tree. The coolness of the shade, the sweet taste of the ice cream, and the sound of the park all mix together into a perfect moment. As I eat, I notice a group of teenagers playing frisbee nearby. Their movements are full of energy, running, jumping, and laughing when someone misses a catch. The frisbee flies through the air like a small, fast bird, and each time it is caught, cheers and claps fill the air. It's so lively, and it makes me think about how parks give everyone space to move freely, whether young or old.
Yes, I can see them too, and I find it wonderful how the energy of others can lift your own mood. Even though we are sitting quietly, it feels like we are part of the excitement, simply by watching. Across from the frisbee players, a young mother spreads a blanket on the grass and sits down with her baby. She places a colorful toy in front of the child, who giggles with pure delight. The baby waves its tiny arms in the air, almost like it wants to catch the sunshine itself. A gentle breeze ruffles the blanket, and the mother carefully tucks it back, smiling at her child with endless love. I find that moment so touching. It reminds me that parks are places where memories are created, not just for today, but for the future. That baby might not remember this exact afternoon, but the feeling of being surrounded by care and nature will always stay with him in some way.
I agree completely. Watching all these small stories happening around us makes me realize how much we share as human beings. Each person here, children with ice cream, teenagers with frisbees, parents with babies, couples walking hand in hand, they are all experiencing joy in their own way. And yet, all these little joys come together to create the larger happiness of the park itself. As I look further down the path, I notice a group of older men sitting together at a picnic table, playing a game of chess. They lean over the board, thinking carefully before moving a piece, and their serious expressions show how deeply they are concentrating. But then, one of them makes a clever move, and laughter breaks out as the others clap or shake their heads in playful defeat. Even in competition, there is friendship and warmth. It makes me think that the park is like a stage where life plays many different scenes, all happening at once, yet all connected by the same gentle air and sunlight.
That is such a beautiful way to describe it. The park really is like a living stage, with stories unfolding everywhere. And what I love is that these stories don't need to be written down. They just happen naturally, and the memory of them stays in the hearts of the people who lived them. As we finish our ice cream, I notice the sound of birds singing above us in the branches. Some of them call to each other in short, sharp notes, while others sing longer melodies that rise and fall like music. The sound is soft, but when you stop and listen carefully, it feels almost like a secret concert just for those who are paying attention. I think moments like these remind us to slow down, to breathe, and to notice the beauty around us that we often miss when life is too fast.
As we sit a little longer on the bench, I notice how the sun begins to tilt slightly in the sky, no longer directly overhead, but leaning toward the afternoon. The shadows of the trees grow longer, stretching across the grass like dark fingers reaching gently outward. I take a deep breath, and the scent of fresh-cut grass mixes with the sweetness of flowers nearby. A gardener, wearing a wide straw hat, slowly pushes a small cart filled with tools, stopping every few steps to trim or water the plants. His movements are unhurried, almost like a dance, and I realize how much care goes into keeping the park beautiful. Without his quiet work, we might not enjoy the same soft grass under our feet or the same bursts of color from the flower beds. Watching him makes me feel grateful, because his work, though simple and steady, adds so much to the joy we all share in this space.
That's very true. It's easy to forget that someone is always working behind the scenes to create the beauty we enjoy. As I look toward the flower beds, I see rows of tulips standing proudly, their petals shining like little cups of sunlight and fire. There are red ones, yellow ones, and even some with soft purple shades that seem almost unreal in their brightness. A butterfly floats lazily from one flower to another, its wings patterned with orange and black. Each time it lands, the petals shake slightly as though whispering a greeting to their visitor. Watching this tiny creature makes me think about balance in nature. The flowers need the insects, and the insects need the flowers, and together they make the world more colorful. Sitting here with no rush, I can finally see how deeply connected everything is. The gardener, the flowers, the insects, and us, sitting quietly and admiring it all.
Yes, the balance is so delicate and so perfect. As we continue to rest, I notice a man walking slowly with his dog. The dog, a golden retriever with shiny fur, seems almost too excited to stay on the path. It pulls gently on the leash, eager to sniff every blade of grass, every tree, every corner of the park. The man laughs softly and lets the dog wander just enough to satisfy its curiosity. At one point, the dog spots a squirrel darting across the grass, and for a moment, it freezes with excitement, its ears pointing up, tail wagging wildly. The squirrel, quick and clever, climbs up the nearest tree, sitting on a branch just high enough to be safe. From above, it looks down at the dog with bright, alert eyes, as if mocking it for being stuck on the ground. The man shakes his head, still smiling, and calls his dog back. That small interaction makes me laugh too, because it shows the playful conversations of animals, even if they don't use words like we do.
That's such a wonderful image. I can almost hear the squirrel chattering from the safety of the branch, teasing the dog who wishes it could climb. Scenes like this make the park feel alive, not just with people, but with all the other living creatures who share it. I notice near the pond again, a group of ducks has gathered. Some are gliding smoothly across the water, leaving long ripples behind them, while others waddle clumsily along the grass at the edge. Children run over with small bags of breadcrumbs, tossing pieces into the pond, and the ducks paddle quickly toward the food, quacking loudly in excitement. One duck even flaps its wings in a dramatic display, splashing water everywhere as if trying to claim the best spot. The children laugh, their parents laugh, and even people watching from a distance smile. It shows how something as ordinary as feeding ducks can become a joyful memory, especially for children who may talk about it all day when they go home.
I love that too. It's amazing how these little moments stay with us. I remember feeding ducks when I was young, and even though it was such a small part of the day, it felt magical at the time. And here, watching these children, I can almost see their memories being made right in front of us. As I finish the last bite of my ice cream cone, I realize how peaceful this afternoon has been. We haven't rushed, we haven't worried. We've just let the park carry us from one moment to another, like a gentle current. Looking around, I notice people lying on blankets reading books, others taking slow naps with hats covering their faces, and some simply staring at the sky as clouds drift lazily overhead. The whole park feels like a shared pause, a space where everyone has permission to slow down and breathe. In a world that is often too fast, this quiet freedom feels like a gift.
I couldn't agree more. The park gives us a chance to return to something simple and true: walking, resting, watching, breathing. And while each of us comes here for different reasons, the effect is the same. We leave feeling lighter, calmer, and somehow more connected, not only to nature but to each other. As I sit here with you, reflecting on all the small scenes we've witnessed, the children with ice cream, the teenagers playing frisbee, the baby on the blanket, the old men with their chess, the gardener tending the flowers, the dog chasing the squirrel, the ducks in the pond, I feel like all of them together have told us a story. Not a story written in books, but a living story unfolding in every corner of this park. And being part of it, even as observers, is something I will carry with me long after we leave today.
As the afternoon moves toward evening, I notice the light beginning to soften. The bright, golden sun that once shone high above us is now dipping lower, painting the park in warm shades of orange and gold. The air feels cooler, with a gentle breeze that carries the faint sound of leaves rustling high in the trees. It's as though the park is beginning to exhale, slowing down after a busy day. I stand up from the bench and stretch my arms, feeling the pleasant tiredness in my legs after walking and sitting and watching so many scenes unfold. For a moment, I just stand still, looking around at the wide green fields, the winding paths, and the tall trees glowing in the sunset. I feel a wave of peace wash over me, as if the park is whispering goodbye for today, but promising that it will be here again tomorrow, waiting with the same gentle welcome.
I feel that too. The evening brings a new beauty to the park, one that is softer, calmer, almost dreamlike. As I rise from the bench beside you, I notice families beginning to pack their things. The children who ran so energetically only an hour ago now look sleepy, their faces flushed from play, their hands sticky from ice cream. Parents gather toys and fold blankets, calling gently to their little ones who hesitate to leave. Nearby, the group of teenagers finishes their frisbee game, laughing one last time before picking up their bags and walking toward the gates. Even the ducks in the pond seem quieter now, gliding slowly as if preparing to rest. It feels like the whole park is winding down, just as people do at the end of a long, happy day. And as we prepare to leave too, I feel grateful that we share this afternoon, not rushing, not worrying, but simply being part of this rhythm of life.
Yes, that rhythm is something I don't want to forget. As we begin walking along the path toward the exit, I notice how the setting sun filters through the branches, creating patches of light and shadow on the ground. Our footsteps fall softly on the gravel, matching the quiet pace of others heading the same way. Ahead of us, I see a young couple pushing a stroller, the baby now fast asleep, its tiny hand resting outside the blanket. Behind us, the gardener we noticed earlier is carefully gathering his tools, his work for the day finally finished. A jogger runs past, breathing steadily, perhaps catching one last bit of exercise before night falls. Every detail, from the crunch of gravel beneath our shoes to the faint laughter of children in the distance, seems to come together in harmony, creating a perfect farewell song from the park.
Walking here beside you, I feel that harmony too. It's as though the park has given us a gift today, reminders of joy, of rest, of connection. As we near the gates, I look back one more time, and the view feels almost like a painting. The trees are dark silhouettes against the glowing sky. The pond reflects streaks of orange and pink, and a few birds fly low across the water, heading home to their nests. People move slowly toward the exits, carrying bags, holding hands, pushing strollers, leading dogs, all leaving behind footprints that will fade by morning. Yet what will remain are the memories, the laughter of children feeding ducks, the playful dog chasing the squirrel, the quiet gardener tending flowers, the warmth of ice cream on a sunny afternoon, and the peaceful rest on a park bench. All of it stays with us, even as we step outside the gates.
As we finally leave the park and step onto the street, I feel both content and thoughtful. The noise of traffic, the sound of car horns, and the rush of people on sidewalks remind me that the outside world moves quickly, almost too quickly. Yet because of the park, I feel calmer, more centered, as if I carry a little piece of that quiet green space inside me. I turn to you and smile, realizing how special it was to share this time, to notice so many details, and to speak about them slowly with care. In a way, this walk in the park has been more than just a day out. It has been a lesson in slowing down, in seeing beauty in small things, and in remembering that peace can be found even in the middle of a busy life. And as we head home, I know I will carry this peaceful memory with me, like a soft light inside that will glow whenever I need it.
I feel the same way. The park has given us more than just fresh air and exercise. It has given us a story, a feeling, and a memory that we will always keep. And as we walk home together, I realize that life is made up of days like this, not only the big events, not only the important milestones, but also the quiet afternoons spent in nature, the laughter shared with strangers, the beauty noticed in ordinary moments. These are the pieces that build happiness, slowly, gently, like the steady steps we are taking now. And when we look back, it will not be the noise of traffic or the rush of errands that we remember, but the soft sunlight, the ducks on the pond, the dog chasing the squirrel, the flowers in bloom, and the calm feeling in our hearts. Today has been simple, but in its simplicity, it has been perfect.
Thank you for spending this time with us today. I hope you enjoyed listening slowly and clearly, and that this story helped you relax while practicing English. Remember, the more you listen, the more natural English will feel in your mind. If you liked this video, please don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who is also learning English. Your support means so much, and it helps us continue creating more lessons for you. I would also love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me, what part of today's story was your favorite? Or share your own idea for a future English practice topic. Your thoughts and suggestions really inspire me, and I read every single comment. Until next time, keep listening, keep practicing, and remember, you are doing great. See you again soon.